Hi everyone, welcome to Mindful Adventures. So for some of you, you may have been on a spiritual path as a seeker for quite some time, and others, maybe you're just curious about consciousness, spirituality, being and non-being, God, and all of these different things. But I'm sure that some of you have already started to see the great challenge there is in that there's lots of information that's out there, lots of terminology and different concepts that it may have originated in true knowledge long, long ago, but as the knowledge has been passed down from generation to generation and so on and so forth, things have evolved naturally, and some of what has evolved to has made things easier for some and much more difficult than what they should be for others. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience and point out a few challenges that I encountered along the way, and invite you to just take a look at something. And in this, we can dive into the mindful adventure together. So, for me, about 30 years ago, at the age of 6, my parents were gracious enough to allow me to participate with them in transcendental meditation. And that was really my first, I'd say, direct experience in terms of practice. And from there, it just sparked within me a sincere desire and a curiosity, really, to learn more about the mystical teachings and just about the things that were unknown to me. And as time went on, I continued. Actually, I should I should clarify that although my parents were deep into the mystical traditions and meditation and all of those different things, we were going to church every Sunday still as a part of the family tradition in Christianity. But they still allowed tons of space for us to explore together all of these different dimensions of spirituality without judgment. And that was really a beautiful experience that I'm forever grateful for. But as time went by, one of the things that started to happen, which I didn't even realize until 25, almost 30 years later, was that I had lost track of exactly what it was that I was searching for. I had accumulated so much knowledge and beautiful experiences along the way from these practices. I'm sure some of you can attest to the great beauty that comes from, sudden glimpses and insights of oneself, whether it's, a silent, quiet mind or a feeling of peace and solitude and serenity. So all of these beautiful experiences and the knowledge and my beliefs around these experiences, my beliefs and perceptions around the different concepts in the knowledge, started to cover up exactly what it was that I was searching for. And so so I see that this is a danger for so many, is that one can, stumble around in darkness, thinking that they are getting closer to what it is that they're looking for without actually clarifying the truth for oneself as to what it is that you're seeking. And eventually, I started to question things, saying, okay, well, now with all of these years that I've been on one path or another, and that I've stuck with it and really gained some great treasures from these experiences, out of all of these years, there's still mind, and out of all of the practice, there's still desire to seek and to search. And for those of you, again, who have been practicing for some time, and maybe you're just exhausted from your search, I'm sure you can also attest that no matter how much you read and study, no matter how many different methods and teachings you memorize, and even those who are, sitting in front of the mirror doing their affirmations, this is definitely something from the West, is, you get in the mirror and you say, okay, I am this, and you're declaring and you're affirming. Well, at the end of the day, once all of that is said and done, the knowledge and the practice is yet to suffice exactly what it is that you're looking for. Because no matter how much we learn, no matter how much we take in, no matter how much we hear the truth or hear others point to the truth, it never really satisfies the soul. Actually, if you think about it, when it comes to information and knowledge, what I like to call food for thought, Everybody likes to have food for thought. I say, oh, this is good food for thought. Well, if you think about it, when it comes to real food, when you eat the food, it is digested and integrated into the body, and that which is inessential is expelled. But what kind of food for thought do you eat that just never seems to satisfy the soul? And that's a question that I think that it really behooves each and every person who's listening to take this back into contemplation and meditation yourself after you finish watching, of course, but but with all of that knowledge still yet to satisfy the soul, and people continuing to search, I found myself in that exact same position. And so it's truly a wonder when you see people out there who have gained just tremendous amount of experience with their practice, and lots of learning and lots of accumulating more and more knowledge of the teachings, and then they reach a point, whether it's at the end of their life or even before then, where they look down and they say, wow, I'm still absolutely empty-handed. What have I gained from this? Hence the reason why people are still seeking. And so that is, wow, I pointed out a few challenges. I feel like I lost track of which number. But nevertheless, there's what I'd like to invite you to explore in the Mindful Adventure. And this is really what the Mindful Adventure is about, is exploring oneself beyond practice, beyond method, beyond memory, beyond imagination, and beyond our own perceptions and definitions and really projections of what all of these things truly mean. Because at the end of the day, all religious and spiritual teachings are there to lead one to know thyself, right? And in coming to know oneself, free from body-mind identification, free from mental construct identification, and free from suffering and the self-created causes of said suffering. To know thyself free from those things comes to really knowing God. And so the question that I would like for us to explore together on the Mindful Adventure is it possible for one to directly experience oneself as consciousness, as pure awareness, and in that come to true freedom? So if you're asking yourself, well, you're like, oh, wow, that sounds good. All right, how do I do it? Well, of course you would ask how and where to begin, because that's what all seekers would do. And it's a very good question. But what I would like to point out to you is that it's the how and the mind's tendency to rush to the how and rush to the method and rush to the practice. It's that tendency that overshadows what is here now in this moment. And so in your journey in exploring consciousness or meditation and mindfulness, or whatever you want to say that your journey is leading towards, what I'd like to invite you to do in this very moment is just to stop and see if you can pinpoint who you are in this moment, right here, right now, without any of those things. I realize that it's a challenging question to, or challenging request to put out there, because in some ways I know for myself, when it came to really learning to let go and to be here now, that in a way it kind of feels like, oh my gosh, are these things being taken from me? Why are you taking away my methods? Why are you taking away these beautiful experiences? And of course that's not my intention. My intention is not to negate or to reduce the beauty of your knowledge and your experiences through your practice, but I'm coming to really give a slight push and a point to a place that you may not have already explored, and that is yourself. I think as a as a seeker, many people are driven to seek for answers from teachers, from masters, coaches, whatever you want to call it, And the truth of the matter is, though, that when it comes to mindful adventures, that's really, not my intention, is to necessarily give you answers. Maybe I'll give you some questions. And in coming to the true insight, you'll see that there are no questions and no answers, but there's a way to get there. And that way is really to turn inwards. It's to be here as you are, in whatever way your being is expressing itself. And so, to stop and inquire, what is the self? Even, let's just take the word self out of it, because as I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of these a lot of these different words and phrases are very loaded because they've been decorated over time with lots of different meanings and interpretations. But let's just start with one, and that's I. All right, so what is the I? And if you close your eyes and ask yourself, you say, okay, so who am I? Who am I, the seeker after truth? Who am I, the seeker for God, or for enlightenment, or for peace and freedom, whatever it may be? And actually, for those of you out there who say, okay, well, I'm not a spiritual person at all, I'm just curious. Well, trust and believe that, that even those who are out there who aren't seeking after spirituality, they're seeking after money, power, love. Maybe someone is seeking their next career, or they're seeking to find themselves in things that may be quote-unquote material. And when I say material, I don't mean materialism as in, oh, it's something that should be shunned or avoided. I'm just saying, things that are not abstract, things that are much more concrete. That is still a type of seeking, and really the spiritual seeker and the seeker after wealth, power, and love are essentially, you could say, almost in the same boat, because it's the seeking and it's the desiring and it's the running after something that is at a distance, when all along that entire process is being witnessed by consciousness itself, being witnessed by the pure awareness itself. And so, how to come to this sort of self-recognition? Again, clarify the truth for yourself as to who you are in this moment, free from chasing, free from striving, free from seeking, and see what's here now in this moment. And that's really the purpose of inquiry, whether it's self-inquiry or inquiry that's led by a coach or a master, is really to put the ball back in your court. And what I'm saying is that you are the evidence of this. I can't be the evidence for you. Some of the great sages and the mystics that are out there that I admire so much, and I'm so grateful for their being and for their sharing, that at the end of the day, no matter what is learned and gained by hearing the words and the teachings of others and the traditions that as they've been passed down, that at the end of the day, it all boils down to you. You are the evidence. And so I'm asking you and challenging you that in this moment that you stop the search just for now, I'm not saying forever, just for now, and ask oneself, what am I? This I, the seeker that I take myself to be. What am I? This being, this person that wants truth, that wants to know God, that wants to know myself, that wants a greater understanding. And see where you're at right now in this moment. Of course, the mind will arise with tons of answers, because that's what the mind is for. The mind is meant to be, I'd say, in a way, it's a partner in crime, working together with the body and together with the energies that are in motion, the emotions, to reveal to an individual all of the dynamic play of existence and all the dimensions of oneself. But can these dimensions of oneself be observed from a place of no mind? And the answer is yes. Have you tasted and have you seen the tremendous space, the spaciousness of your own being to be able to navigate all of these different areas of life, all of these different areas of oneself? And so, coming back to the question as to what is the I, the mind will come and try and fill in the blank. It is only natural. And, this is where I think what can be called into question could be our critical thinking. If you're totally identified as a body-mind, then critical thinking may not even really be a question for you yet, because in order to be able to be critical about one's thinking, you cannot be 100% identified with thought. Allow the thoughts to arise and allow them to subside. But if you're watchful with right attentiveness, as is brought down in the Buddhist tradition by the Buddha, saying with right mindfulness, with right attentiveness, in stopping and looking in this moment with honesty, just to be honest with oneself as to what you see here now. When you look inside for the I, when you look inside for the seeker, when you look inside for the lover, when you look inside trying to find the one who's a friend, when you look inside and say, okay, well, where's that enemy inside of me? Maybe you look inside and say, oh, well, where's the greedy one and where's the drunk? Whatever you want to fill in the blank with, can this one be located? Can this one be found in this very moment? If you close your eyes and you look, can you see it? And if not, then what is there? I think those who are sincere and really honest, truthfully being honest with oneself about what they see when they look for this one, the suffering one, the wise one, the greedy one, the happy one, the independent one, whatever we take ourselves to be, that you see that these thoughts and these ideas, when they fade away like clouds passing through the sky, that what is left? What is left to be perceived? What is left to be understood? What is left to be witnessed? It would almost be too much to say that it's nothing. Of course, again, those of you with quite a bit of experience have probably, you're probably familiar with the emptiness and the nothingness and the void that is behind it all. But I'm saying, let's put all of that aside. Let's put even that bit of knowledge aside of this nothingness and this emptiness and what it looks like. And you see for yourself. And in right attentiveness, not only attending to the body-mind, not only attending to one's emotions, not only attending to the perceptions, the mental objects of perception that come and go throughout the field of awareness, but just attending to oneself and the freedom and the spaciousness that's there, you'll come to an insight. What that insight is, well, it's been said and stated and expressed in 1,001 different ways for many, many generations. There's no need for me to tell you exactly what it will look like. You can see for yourself, and you are the living evidence of that. And so with that being said, may all beings come to the Buddha cognition of consciousness, of recognizing oneself as consciousness, and abide in this truth forever. Namaste.